access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television. They had a recording of Meek and Diddy
making love?
Ew.
I don't know if it was love.
They want to make it. They want to make it so badly. You get these vulnerable people. Parents are letting you do this because they want to make it so badly. And then you record them probably and say, if you do anything, we got this on you.
You know, go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anyone.
For years, Justin Bieber stayed silent, while the world watched him transform from a YouTube teen sensation into a global pop icon. Few knew what was really happening behind the scenes. But now, as lawsuits mount against Sean Diddy Combs and multiple celebrities come forward with disturbing revelations, it seems Justin is finally ready to speak out. And what he's revealing is deeply unsettling. In recent weeks, whispers have turned into full-blown fan theories. Old video clips have resurfaced, and suddenly, Justin's long and complicated history with Diddy is being re-examined like never before. But this time, it's not about vague Instagram posts or awkward interviews. It's about what Justin claims he saw with his own eyes. He's reportedly exposing a list of rappers and celebrities allegedly connected to Diddy, including major names like Usher and Meek Mill. And these aren't just random rumors. Some of these men have had questionable ties to Diddy for years, like Meek Mill's infamous leaked video. Now, everything is starting to make sense. Fans who once dismissed odd interactions and strange party stories are beginning to see the darker truth. Justin has started to speak openly on his social media, dropping cryptic but powerful hints. One post in particular stirred controversy, a video of him casually eating a slice of pizza, uploaded just as Cassie took the stand against Diddy. Many fans believe Justin was sending a subtle but pointed message. Prominent journalist and Pizzagate investigator Liz Crokin commented, "The video looks like it came from a surveillance camera, the same kind Diddy allegedly used to film his notorious blackmail parties." Justin's claims suggest he was exposed to things no child should ever witness. Stories of sleepovers, of being forced to watch, of twisted power dynamics within Diddy's inner circle. For years, people laughed off Justin's breakdowns, his drug use, and his erratic public behavior. But now, many are realizing that what looked like teenage rebellion might have actually been a cry for help, signs of deep, unresolved trauma. And the most shocking part, this might just be the beginning. It all started with Usher. Before he became a global superstar, Usher was just a teenager chasing a dream. He was discovered by music executive L.A. Reid, who quickly signed him to LaFace Records. But talent alone wasn't enough to break into the industry. There were unspoken rules, powerful people to impress. Enter Sean P. Diddy Combs. Early in his career, Usher was placed under Diddy's mentorship. He was told that if he wanted to make it big, he had to learn from the mogul who ran the game. And at the time, Diddy was one of the most powerful names in the business. So, still just a teenager, Usher packed his bags and moved in with Puffy. The idea was to train him, teach him how to move in the industry, how to build a brand, how to be a star. But now, fans are asking, what else was he taught?
To New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
But according to Usher himself, what he experienced under Diddy's wing wasn't exactly a typical mentorship. At first, it was thrilling, being surrounded by celebrities, high-energy parties, and non-stop excitement. Usher was soaking up the spotlight, learning the ropes of the music industry from one of the most powerful names in the game. But that thrill didn't last. Soon, the excitement turned into confusion and discomfort. Usher began to notice things. Parties that didn't feel right, people coming and going at strange hours, behavior that didn't match the clean-cut, professional image Diddy portrayed in public. The energy wasn't just chaotic, it was disturbing. Usher admitted it all became overwhelming. He was just a kid, far from home, suddenly surrounded by a lifestyle that felt more dangerous than inspiring. Eventually, that so-called mentorship faded. Usher quietly began to distance himself. And though he rarely speaks in detail about those early years, fans have long believed that Diddy left a lasting impact on him, one that went far beyond music. Now, with the flood of recent lawsuits and with Justin Bieber stepping forward to tell his story, people are looking at Usher's past with new eyes. Because here's what many forget, Usher met Diddy when he was just 13 years old. Diddy didn't just mentor him. He became his legal guardian and went on to produce Usher's debut album in 1994. On paper, it looked like a dream come true. A young star under the wing of a music mogul. But behind the scenes, it was something else entirely. In a 2004 Rolling Stone interview, Usher reflected on that time. He admitted Diddy introduced him to a lifestyle that was far too adult for someone his age. He talked about being overwhelmed, caught in an environment filled with things no teenager should be exposed to. And now, with all the allegations surrounding Diddy, Usher's story feels a lot less like industry lore, and a lot more like a red flag we all missed. What once seemed like a wild chapter in a young star's rise to fame now feels deeply troubling, especially when you remember, Usher was just a kid.
Used to wake up and, pause, but like just back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frost.
Back in 2013, during his 35th birthday celebration, Usher opened up about his early years in the music industry and the powerful influence Sean Diddy Combs had on him as a teenager. According to reports from the Daily Mail, Diddy was in the room when Usher gave a surprisingly candid speech. Reflecting on his youth, Usher told the crowd, "I was introduced to everything by Puff Daddy when I was only 15. He spoke openly about the kinds of parties he'd been around, the fast-paced celebrity lifestyle he was thrown into, and how quickly he was exposed to the wild side of fame." Despite admitting he'd had a taste of it all, Usher made it clear that he never let those experiences define him. He even said he wouldn't take back the advice Diddy gave him over the years. But while his words may have sounded grateful on the surface, there was an edge of something else, something deeper. 3 years later, in a 2016 interview on The Howard Stern Show, Usher revisited that same period of his life. This time, he revealed more. He brought up what Diddy used to call the Puffy Flavor Camp, a nickname for the lavish, off-the-grid gatherings and trips that were supposedly part of Diddy's mentorship. But Usher didn't describe them like typical music industry retreats. Instead, he called them places where very curious things were happening. When Stern bluntly asked if he would ever let his own children attend something like that, Usher didn't even pause. Hell no. That one answer said more than any long story ever could. Now, in light of everything, lawsuits, testimonies, disturbing claims, Usher's past experiences airing re-examined. What once seemed like innocent industry bonding now sounds more like a warning. And with Justin Bieber stepping forward to talk about his own time under Diddy's influence, the puzzle pieces are starting to come together. This isn't just about fame. It's about the dark side of mentorship in an industry that protects the powerful and silences the young.
Say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand.
Looking back now, in the context of the serious and ongoing allegations surrounding Diddy, Usher's past comments take on a chilling new weight. What once sounded like wild industry anecdotes now raise disturbing questions about what young artists were really exposed to behind closed doors. And as the lawsuits against Diddy pile up, Usher's silence has become deafening. While some celebrities have publicly distanced themselves, or at least subtly acknowledged the storm, brewing around the Bad Boy Records founder, Usher has said absolutely nothing. Not a single word. No statement. No post. Just silence. But in September 2024, fans noticed something strange. Usher wiped every single post from his X, formerly Twitter, profile. His entire timeline, gone. No explanation. No goodbye. Just a blank page. When fans started asking questions, Usher claimed his account had been hacked. But the timing felt way too suspicious. Because this happened right as the FBI reportedly launched an investigation into Diddy and his inner circle. Naturally, theories exploded online. Some believe Usher is staying silent out of fear that Diddy still holds influence or, worse, damaging information from their shared past. Others think the social media purge was a calculated move to erase any digital breadcrumbs that might tie him to the growing scandal. And it's important to remember, Usher had a front-row seat to Diddy's world from the age of 13. He wasn't just a guest at the parties. He lived under Diddy's roof. He saw it all, whether he's protecting himself, protecting others, or just trying to stay far away from the chaos. His silence speaks volumes. Especially now, as Justin Bieber begins to break his own silence, and the world starts connecting the dots. Usher's old interviews, once brushed off as harmless reflections, now sound like early warnings about an environment that may have damaged more young artists than anyone imagined. And now, Justin Bieber is stepping forward, not just to talk about what happened to him, but to expose what he witnessed as a kid growing up around some of the most powerful people in music. For years, the world labeled his breakdowns, meltdowns, and rebellious years as typical young celebrity behavior. But now, fans are seeing it differently. Maybe it wasn't teen angst. Maybe it was trauma. Sources close to Justin say he was present during the later years of Diddy's infamous parties, when things weren't just wild, they were unsettling. He wasn't being brought to these events for fun. He was being shown a side of the industry no child should ever see. And he wasn't alone. Usher was there too, a few years older, already shaped by his own time under Diddy's control. Justin reportedly witnessed more than just music deals and mentorship. He saw the power plays, the manipulation, the imbalance between Diddy and Usher, and he felt it himself. Now, after years of silence, deleted posts, and avoiding questions, it looks like Justin is done carrying that burden alone. And what he's saying isn't just about Diddy. He's also naming others who were allegedly involved. One of the biggest shocks: Meek Mill. In one of the most explosive and overlooked parts of Rodney Lil Rod Jones's lawsuit against Diddy, a footnote alleges that Diddy bragged about having relationships with both Meek Mill and Usher. While neither Meek nor Usher are accused of any wrongdoing, the revelation caused an uproar online, especially after a leaked audio clip appeared to confirm parts of the story. Now, fans are going back through years of footage, interviews, and moments that once seemed insignificant, and seeing them in a whole new light. Because this isn't just about one artist's downfall anymore. It's about the web of silence that allowed it all to happen.
What? Yo, wait a minute!
When Rodney Lil Rod Jones's lawsuit dropped Meek Mill's name in a footnote, the Philly rapper wasted no time firing back. In a marathon of posts on X, formerly Twitter, Meek went full throttle. No man, or whatever, would ever come at me about gay activity. The whole place would get flipped. Woke up seeing this on every blog, like they know I'm coming. Classic Meek, raw, unfiltered, straight to the point. But this time the street-level honesty only fanned the flames. The louder he declared his heterosexuality, the more people piled on with questions, snark, and memes. Meek and Diddy have been linked in rumors for years, thanks to studio sessions, flashy parties, and their creative run between 2012 and 2015. Meek appeared on Diddy's I Want the Love, and Diddy returned the favor on Cold Hearted. Add in that infamous 2014 Grammys afterparty Meek hosted, which police shut down, and the gossip practically wrote itself. But Meek hasn't just ignored the chatter, he's hammered it down every time. To him, the story is simple: their relationship was music and business, nothing more. And when the latest wave of rumors hit, he escalated the denial. I'll drop $100,000 on an investigative team to find out who's behind this. Somebody's trying to smear my name. That offer turned heads. It wasn't merely a tweet and delete rebuttal. It was a declaration of war on whoever, in Meek's view, was pushing a smear campaign. Notably, Meek has never addressed Diddy's own alleged comments about him, choosing instead to focus on clearing his own name in the court of public opinion. For now, he's sticking to the facts, swatting down speculation, and letting everyone know he's not here for rumors, just receipts. Meek Mill's been keeping his stance clear but calculated. Back in April, he took to social media and posted, "I don't believe any Diddy story. Once they lied about me." The message was subtle but strong. He's been through the rumor mill before and isn't buying into the noise now. To Meek, it feels like deja vu, same script, different cast. He's hinting that he's been falsely targeted in the past, and that's made him ultra-skeptical of any headline that has his name and Diddy's in the same breath. But not everyone's convinced that it's just about setting the record straight. Some fans believe Meek's intense denials, and his refusal to even entertain the conversation, might be more about self-protection than the truth. Because if there was more to the story, opening up would mean exposing himself to criticism, judgment, and a spotlight he's never asked for. Especially when someone as powerful as Diddy is involved, speaking out could carry consequences, professionally and personally. And let's be honest, vulnerability isn't easy, especially for someone like Meek, who's built a public image around being raw, unfiltered, and tough. Letting that guard down, even just a little, could unravel more than just a headline. It could shake his image, affect industry ties, and even shift the way fans view him. That doesn't automatically mean he's hiding something. It could just mean he's doing what many would, surviving by staying silent, shutting down speculation, and controlling the narrative the only way he knows how. And Meek isn't the only one. Over the years, a number of artists have been seen in Diddy's orbit, at parties that have since become the stuff of industry legend and controversy. One of them is Fabulous. Back in 2021, Fab dropped a little nugget on Instagram that caught attention, not because it was dramatic, but because of what it revealed between the lines. He talked about leaving one of Diddy's parties with what he called an Irish exit. You know, when you pretend you're heading to the bathroom but never come back. You ever got peer pressured into going to the arters? Fab posted, "You really want to go home or back to the room, but you don't want to be the turn down to the turn up." Translation, you don't want to be the buzzkill, but you also don't want to stay in an environment that's just a little too much. Fab admitted he told Diddy he had to hit the restroom, and then disappeared into the night. The wild part, it was 7 a.m., and Diddy was still going hard. A funny story on the surface, but in the context of everything that's come out since, fans are starting to reframe even moments like this. What used to be seen as celebrity party antics now raise deeper questions about what was really going on behind those velvet ropes, and who chose to quietly walk away before things got out of hand.
I party with me for your birthday, man. We party for my birthday before. You can't party. No, but we ain't never really party, you know?
And while some people endured it all, others made their exit the moment things felt off. Take Uncle Luke, for example. On a recent episode of the Way in Miami podcast, the veteran rapper dropped some carefully worded but unmistakable hints about just how wild Diddy's parties really were. He didn't spill everything, but his tone said it all. When asked why he always bounced early from Diddy's events, Uncle Luke simply said, "I don't know what goes on after hours, but I wasn't trying to find out. I know my place." Translation, he knew what kind of energy came with those parties, and made the smart choice to keep his distance. Luke even shared a story that shows just how deliberate he was in avoiding Diddy's inner circle. Remember the hit song I Wanna Rock? French Montana sampled it for Pop That, featuring Rick Ross, Drake, and Lil Wayne. Despite that major lineup, and despite being invited to appear in the music video, Uncle Luke declined. "No cameo. No check. No clout chase. I don't want any check," he said when asked if he at least got paid. When another guest chimed in with, "All money isn't good money," Uncle Luke just nodded. And honestly, that kind of mindset might have saved him from getting pulled into the messier parts of Diddy's world. A few days later, Uncle Luke posted a cryptic video suggesting that Diddy may have pissed off some powerful corporate players. And that's part of why the legal walls are now closing in. He basically said, "This isn't just about personal drama, bigger forces are moving behind the scenes." And if you know Diddy's business history, that might not be so far-fetched. Back in June 2023, Diddy's partnership with alcohol giant Diageo, the company behind brands like Ciroc and De Leon Tequila, imploded. Diddy sued them, claiming they weren't upholding their end of the deal. But Diageo hit back hard, revealing that despite the brands pulling in nearly $1 billion, Diddy's actual cash investment was just $1,000. That revelation raised eyebrows. Was there more tension under the surface? Did Diddy make enemies in boardrooms as well as nightclubs? And now, let's circle back to Justin Bieber, because his rise to fame wasn't just about talent. It involved some very powerful names, including Diddy. At just 13, Bieber was discovered by Scooter Braun and launched through a partnership with Usher called the Raymond Braun Music Group. But in 2009, Diddy came into the picture. In a video Justin uploaded to YouTube, Diddy talks about spending 48 hours with him. "Where we're hanging out and what we're doing, we can't really disclose," Diddy said with a smirk. But it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. Importantly, he added that, unlike when Usher stayed with him, he didn't have legal guardianship over Bieber during that time. And in the clip, when Diddy asks Justin what he wants to do, Bieber jokes, "Let's go get some girls." To which Diddy responds, "A man after my own heart. That's what I'm talking about." At the time, it might have seemed like playful banter. But now, with everything coming out, fans are looking back and asking, what kind of world was a 15-year-old really being introduced to? By 2010, Bieber was 16. And there's another clip where Diddy teaches him how to swag walk while joking about how Justin's not calling or hanging out as much anymore. You could tell there was some sort of bond there, but as Bieber's fame skyrocketed, they were seen together less often. Still, traces of that connection remain, and some of them are unsettling. On an old episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Khloe Kardashian casually mentioned attending a party where half the people were but naked, and named Diddy, or Quincy, as she called him, as one of the hosts. Fast forward to now, and Justin Bieber has started to speak in a very different tone. He's begun opening up about what he really experienced in those early days, suggesting that Diddy exposed him to things a teenager should never have been around. Justin hasn't laid out every detail, but his words are heavy. It's clear he's not just talking about late-night parties or music mentorship. He's describing something that left a psychological impact. He's described having to watch things that made him deeply uncomfortable, stuff he was too young to understand, let alone consent to being around. Now fans are starting to connect the dots. All those rebellious years people chalked up to teen angst. Maybe it wasn't just acting out. Maybe it was trauma. And what's chilling is, he wasn't alone. Usher was there. Meek was there. Fabulous, French Montana, and even Uncle Luke, all crossed paths with the same man at the center of it all. And maybe now, we're starting to see the full picture. Eyes, what do you think really went on behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Bell, if you found this video eye-opening, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss an update. I drop content like this every week, real stories, real tea, and the truths that don't make the headlines. Stay safe, stay sharp, and remember, not everything that glitters in this industry is gold. See you in the next video.